Hi everybody, Dale Thomas Vaughn here. This is my author update. I wanted to share a few interesting things with y'all today. The first is that I'm in my new writer space. I'm still in the same office space that I live in my home office, but I've set up a new space that's sort of birthright and writing inspired. Here's a guitar that my brother Eric Vaughn made with his bare hands. As you can see, it's got birthright right there in the label and coloring, kind of incredible. This is a Mosrite guitar, so it's same guitar that Johnny Ramone played, kind of cool. Here's a Birthright poster. I'm not sure if y'all have all seen that. That's Sarah Ramone, the character who is the president of the Martian colony, the Phoenix colony. And I took these posters, this poster and another poster, to the World Science Fiction Convention in December, which has been a really influential, just in general, experience for me. As a new author, I'm in the process of trying to understand the game, right? What's the strategy that's going to make a professional out of this work? So if I'm coming at this from a professional perspective, I want to see the people who are doing well and what are they doing. So I noticed a few things when I was at World Sci-Fi Con. One is that there are multiple categories for the Hugo Awards. So if you're not familiar, the Hugo Awards are the sort of Oscars for science fiction. They are presented by the Science Fiction Writers Association, and they are voted on by members. So kind of cool. Being able to be there in the room and witness authors who I really admire, and I got to meet several of them as well, witness them receiving their awards, it was really fun. It was a really cool experience. It was also enlightening. One of the things I learned is that there are different categories for Hugos. So there's there's short stories, which are 7,500 words or less. There's novelettes, which are 7,500 to 17,500. And then there's novellas, 17,500 to 40,000 words. And then above 40,000 words is novels, and then series as well. So that got me thinking about how to find my way to writing something in every category. So in the future, going forward, my goal, if it's to be nominated or to win Hugo Awards, I need to give myself as much opportunity as I can possibly give. So I will be writing a story in every one of those categories at least every year. And part of that is having you have to go through the process of querying novels, but you also have to go through the process of submitting for publishing of your short stories. So I'll be going through that process too. That'll all be new for me this year. So that's a big part of the year for me. 2022 is about exploring the ways of being a professional author. I think over the last 2 years, I've hired a writing coach, an editor and writing coach. I've really invested time and money and energy into becoming a better writer, but also in producing more work. So being more prolific, being less afraid, I think, of just putting stuff out there. So many of you saw that, I think, in the last year. And this coming year, I'm going to take that up a level. So I'll be writing a series of flash fiction, so 2,000 words or less, really. Those will be pieces about a character from Birthright. That character's name is Hoover. So if you know Brian Hoover, he's a really interesting character, one of my favorites. And so those will be little shorts about his life, his journey. He's a warrior poet, so there will be some literature aspects, literature-adjacent aspects to the work. I will also be doing some short stories. I'm hoping to do them in partnership with some actual scientists so that the science and the fiction have a good relationship. I've begun work on one of those already, so hopefully that will be something, again, around 6,000 words or so that I can get out into the world. I've already begun work on a novelette, which is 7,500 to 17,500. That book is going to be really exciting. It follows a novella I put out 10 years ago. It's about a character called Dr. Man. This is sort of a steampunk future, but that's going to be really fun too. And then the novella will be something I have barely started, but a really interesting idea about illustrating xenophobia in a way that I think might be really fun. Like, I mean, none of that's fun, but that will be more fantasy. So fantasy and science fiction going forward. And then, of course, Birthright 2 will be written this year. The Stillness hopefully comes out this year. I'm querying that again this coming week. So all that to say, there's a lot of writing to be done. There's a lot of building stuff and building platforms. I don't know if you saw, I did my first TikTok today. So, you know, this as well, if you can subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing. I need to get above 50 subscribers to be able to do these live, to be able to do YouTube live. I'd like to do more live video because I think that's a great way to engage in questions and answers, and how do we, you know, I want to hear from y'all, basically. So if you are watching this, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button to my channel. It will be this kind of thing going forward. We'll be talking about authoring and books. I wanted to share some other stuff, like books I've been reading, books I recommend. There's a, speaking of the Hugos, there is a new, well, the Hugo Nominations just opened. So if you are a member of the science fiction writing community, essentially, you can go be a part of that process. And I have nominated a couple of people I wanted to share, if I can find them real quick. That's not great. Here we go. So this is The Assassins of Thassalon. This is a Penric and Desdemona novel by Lois McMaster Bujold. She's amazing. I think this is one of the better books I've read in fantasy in a long time. The concept is really interesting. This character basically inherits what she calls, the author calls, a chaos demon. In this world, in this fantasy world, there are elemental spirits, basically little things, you know, spiritual things that roam around in the existence, and they find their way into a living creature. So let's say a squirrel, and then when that squirrel dies, that spirit leaps to the next highest order intelligence it can find. So like maybe it moves up to a horse, and then maybe it moves up to, eventually moves up to people theoretically, and then over time that demon, you know, possesses the writer, but also has a relationship with the writer if done well. So that grants certain magical powers, but also has this access to really generations of information. So Penric is a character who inherits a chaos demon that has been inhabited by, I think, 7 women before him, and then 2 female animals, a mare and a lioness. And so the experience in his mind is a chorus of mostly very brilliant women, and their lived experiences inform his life. Now, he names the demon, and that's the first time that a writer has named the demon before. And so this creates a new relationship, and this started 11 books ago. So this is such an interesting concept. I love the idea of past lives kind of being a part of your everyday lived experience, something that's reactive, not just something you draw upon as wisdom, but is actively engaged in making decisions every day for you. So cool. So I love that concept. I think her writing is great. I often am very frustrated by what I read in fantasy and sci-fi. I think there are a few things that people do that drive me up a wall. One is naming too many people right off the bat. Another is naming too many places right off the bat. So in the first chapter, if you're giving me 9 or 10 names to memorize, I'm not going to, and I'm going to be confused. So I find myself confused more often than I would like to be when I read sci-fi in particular, and fantasy as well. Especially like weird kind of out there names, like you're making up multiple syllabic phonetic names. It's fun, but it's also, you know, exhausting, let's say. So I had a friend who used to call it cognitive load. Lighten the cognitive load. Anyways, Lois McMaster Bujold is great at that kind of thing. She, I think, is easy to understand, but also beautiful. Like there's a fluency to her writing. It's really lovely. Really recommend that. And of course, you're welcome if you're a Hugo nominator, if you have the ability to nominate. Please nominate Birthright Recall in science fiction novels, and you can nominate me as a first-time author, as a new author. That would be amazing. I don't, you know, I don't think I've reached enough people yet to get there, but it would be fun to be in the running. So thank you again for listening and watching this. Please ask questions however you want to reach me. You can do that at Dale Thomas Vaughn on Facebook. You can do that at Mr. Dale Thomas Vaughn on Instagram. You can do that right here on YouTube. Just add comments. And please do subscribe and like. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.